Oops. Let's make sure this is working. All right, I think the captioner is working now. And it is. So we are live. We're going to finish off level 20 of our Dungeondraft mapping in Mad Mage. I went in yesterday. I was messing around off stream after we got done gaming and playing Dark Alliance, which I think I'm going to do a review of that. My personal opinion, if you get it free on Game Pass, play it. If you're paying real money for it, don't do it. You know, there's my 10-second review. It's okay. It's not awesome. Man, I came in and I started messing with this, and all these things we had put in down here, they went away. So I had to redo that. And I didn't want to do redo work. I guess I didn't save. I don't know. Or it didn't save. But we added this back in. I think we added a different one for that stalagmite tower. And we put the jewel on top. So I think I added this statue off stream. There are a couple things we did. But, you know, nothing major. Put this little puzzle area together. But a lot of what I did off stream was recovering. I mean, even this stuff that we put in had managed to disappear. Fortunately, we didn't have to redo all the typing and stuff. But let's go ahead and finish this damned map off. I need to figure out which... There it is. Which window has that? All right, so I think we finished off. Last thing I was working on was maybe level 12 or area 12. Let's take a look. Okay, yeah, we populated area 12. We need 13, which 13 is like this large zone and a bunch of subzones that we need to do. So we'll look at each one and take it from there. All right, 13B. Thor. He's having a puppy nightmare. Thor. Poor Thor. All right, side cavern has an uneven floor. There are 3 gargoyles in there. So they'd be sitting on top of these things. So we can skip that. 13C. Need a thick gray mold. Do we want to do that? Do we want to differentiate this cavern? So... I guess we need to look and see what we have that we could put in there. That'll be one of our textures, or patterns, we should say. Not sure I have anything that's going to look like thick gray mold. I mean, the closest is going to be like a rug texture. And if we put that in, it doesn't really look like mold. See. I mean, we could do this, just make it so it's subtly, you know, just slightly different. In fact, fuck it, let's do it. All right, so I'll give us just something slightly different for that room. $13D. Rotting Zorn Carcass. Now, I know I don't have that, so I'm not putting it in there. What I might recommend is putting in a Zorn token. I mean, even if I did this, so the closest I might have would be, and that's assuming they even put a Zorn in this, because it's not a super common encounter. Where is it? This token collection. I mean, it would be just one of these, and it's not going to look good, and it's not going to be consistent with the art style. So we're not going to put that in there. We're going to leave that room alone and use your words to describe it. 13E. Ring of fire-scarred stones near the north wall of his 10-foot high cave marks long-abandoned campsite. So we can create a campsite in here. Let's do that. Ooh, I think and that's if it picks it up. Sometimes between saves, it doesn't keep the assets that you've used. So let's just put in camp. A cold campfire, we'll put that there. We obviously don't need a campfire that big. I guess let's put that there. Maybe throw a blanket down. We prefer this one, maybe. Yeah, let's do that. That's pretty much all we need. It's an abandoned campsite. Mr. Gaming Heat came in, did a quick silly thing and left. Doesn't even have big enough balls to stick around for a retort. We'll decline scam likely. All right, 13F. Lying on the floor, oversized stone head. Ooh. Let's see if we have a broken statue head. We'll see. I'm guessing in one of the ruins packs there could be a head. Do we want to try to pull those in? And poor Mr. Gamer Heat doesn't even know how to spell heat. It's E-A-T, not E-E-T. All right. So I'm guessing possibly the Elven Ruins. I know this just has statues that are whole. This has some shit that's broken. And I think there's a head on a statue. So we might put that in there. Let's do it. The thing with this, you always have to double save. At least that's what I've found, especially in the older iterations, but it's become a habit. Always double save. All right. So let's hope we were right. There it is. So what's the size of this? There you go. Stone head. We're good. All right, area G has a gusting chasm. That's this right here. 4 dead gargoyles and pieces and the bones of a dwarf. They're all at the bottom of the chasm, so we're not going to worry about that. Nobody's going to climb that. I mean, they'd be silly. 300 feet deep, that's a big fall. All right, so 14. I'm pretty sure this is it. This is 14. All right, so now we simply need to come in and start putting this stuff together. All right, so we have the outer door and foyer in here. So we need a coat rack. This is going to be one of those things. It's a cave, and I didn't think about bringing in furnishings, probably. Let's see what we didn't bring in. All right, so put a lot of that stuff in. We're going to need the storage. We might need the weapons and shields. I have no idea what's in that, but let's bring it in. Not worried about that. I don't think we need that. Let's bring some broken furniture in. And I think the coat rack's in one of these two. I'm going to say go for it. We'll save again, reload, pull that stuff in. I'm hoping the next map, which I haven't looked at yet, is at the least a constructed map instead of this another cave one. So we're not a fan of these cave maps. See, rack brings up sack. As well as what? Plank? That makes sense. Let's take a look. Seeing this, and let's be honest, it's a lot of work to throw these packages together. And a lot of times, we have to do a searching like this because they're not tagged properly. I have the feeling it's probably sitting in the wizard's tower. I don't want to pull the legacy assets in because that doubles down some of it. There it is, right there, Wizard's Tower. Always. Always the last one you bring in. Bam. All that for one thing. Wax candles and stone holders light the room. This is room 16. Middle of the room, a wooden chair faces a small wooden table upon which rests a game board topped with painted figurines. Somebody's in miniature painting, huh? All right, so table. A small wooden table, so we don't need anything big. I think I'm leaning toward this. Bring it up a little bit. So it's not really small, is it? So we're going to put this here so it's centered. We're going to put the single chair down. And then see, I'm not enthralled with that. We have a better game board. Here it is. All right, so tell you what we're going to do. And I'll show you why. See, right now this thing is set so it'll be sitting on top. This one is sitting here properly. There we go. Floating next to the table is a 5-foot-long staff made of chiseled ice. It is a staff of frost. So you can cast Cone of Cold, Fog Cloud, Ice Storm, or Wall of Ice. And then at dawn regains 1d6 plus 4 charges out of 10 total. Alright, so let's see if we have a staff that kind of looks like that. How about that? All right. Room 17. So we do need to put some candles in here. And none of them are sitting on holders, so I think what we're going to do is this. We will we could do this, right? Doesn't really specify what they look like. We're going to place these and then reposition. I think that one's good. All right. Now let's place some candles. Any other candle colors? Tell you what. So we need these to be over. We need to scale these down. I will do something similar when we get into this room. All right, 17. Dozens of wax candles. Okay, now this will be easy. They're perched atop candle holders or affixed to skulls, petrified rats, and other miscellaneous objects. Yeah, that's nice. Cluttered with stacks of books. It doesn't say there are any bookcases. There's a desk and chair. So the desk and chair by the east wall. Let's start with that. Now we're going to create a pile of books, I guess. How does a desk translate to Desert Guard Corpse? That's what I want to know. take this up to scale. Let's put it here. We'll give the Lich a semi-comfortable chair. All right, so I need one book here on the desk. Quill and jar of ink. Now we just need a shit ton of books. So I think what we will do is select a pile. I really don't want them to be colorable, damn it. But you know what we'll do? Fuck it. Take this down to 0.5 on both sides. All right. So these are just piles of books that are going to create a pathway. So what we also need to do is maybe select a few different colors for book covers. And I'd say because these books are just stacked, right? Haphazardly. I would probably set this up as terrain walls inside the virtual tabletop. And let them go through the maze of books. Since it does kind of describe it as just piles of books that'll create a path. All right, so we will We'll do that. And the bottom layer is just here to indicate piles of books, right? And then the top layer needs to be a little more orderly. And I think that's good. You know what? Apparently this lich is a slob when it comes to organizing his books. If he hadn't have been so evil, he probably could have arranged for a carpenter to come in and build him some bookshelves. All right. There's our books. So that's 17, 18. So we need a statue there. I know we don't have a statue that looks like three gnomes standing on their shoulders. So we're going to use the statue circle, and you will use your words to describe it. See, 19 is mounted on the south wall, 6 inches above the floor, is a 3 foot wide, 9 foot tall rectangular mirror with a stone frame. So we just need a mirror. We're going to put it like that. It's not perfect, but it's a mirror. All right, 20. So this needs a stone table without chemical equipment and dirty bottles. There's a cabinet in the northwest corner and stairs. So let's do the easy stuff first. Cabinet. These walls, that's as close to perfect as we're going to get. And you know what? We're going to save, and it specifically says there's a stone table here. And I know where there's a perfect stone table. All right, where does it sit? Center of the room. All right, bowl full of crystals. All right, 21. Oh, wait a minute. That reminds me. All right. We didn't put the lighting in there, and that reminded me. I want to do this. Let's see. All right. I know we've got. Yes, I know we have a summoning circle because we used it in another. Of course, I think it might have been this one. So let's start by searching those specific packs. Pretty sure the cultists don't have what we need, but we're going to look. The cultist pack surprises us. The Wizard's Tower has a couple of things, just doesn't have exactly what we're looking for. We may end up picking something different that it has a circle of runes in it, but that is as long as we can find it. So I think this is as close as we're going to get to a circle with runes in it. Yeah. See, that's going to be it. I'm not real happy with the color we used for that though, so I think we're going to need something a little bit. Does that work? Yeah, we'll leave that as is. All right, what's in 21? Small crystal embedded in the ceiling flickers with the light of a candle flame. So it's an empty room. 22B. There's a statue. Right there. Let's use our tags and see if it brings up in the additional statues, because there should be some in here. Yeah, it brought up the broken statues. That's not going to help us, though. Statue, and then what's on 22B? Secret door, that's in the ceiling. Takes us up to 23. This room looks like a cave. There's a demon in the room. And there's a box. What I need is a metal chest. It says it's small. We'll put it there. And I think we're done. Actually, we need to size that down even more. It's only a 6-inch long box. Each of these squares is 5 feet. We're still a little bit long there, but we'll leave it like that so they can actually see it. Take the other one out. And we're done. So let's save again. Let's take the trace image off. Let's have a look at this. This was a relatively simple map, so it wasn't terrible to make. Just, you know, some of the features, and then having to come in, because it's not a constructed map, it did give us a few issues. But, yeah, I'd say we're good, and it's done. So let's export this thing and say, what's next? 100%, we'll do those. Export. We'll wait for that to stop spinning. Want that at 100%, 100 pixels. Again, 100%. God damn it, I keep clicking off. And since it's available as a format, we're going to do it in WebP. Does make it a little smaller. And once that's done, I'm going to open a JPEG just to make sure of quality. Well, that's not right. The hell? That's right. All right, so this is what? The PNG file. Looks pretty good. Good deal. So we'll upload that and the one we finished earlier in the week, level 19. Probably this weekend. All right, let's do one more save just to make sure. And now let me take a look and see what the next map is. Please. Next chapter. If it says caverns, I'm going to have a fucking stroke in stream. So this one, they're fucking with me. I'm going to download the image. Alright, so this is level 21. And it's called the Terminus level. So let me real quick open up our photo editor. I tell you what, if you're turned off by the price of like Adobe Designer, Photoshop, all those things where you have to pay monthly fees, for a lot of the things that I do, including 3D photo editing, Affinity Photo and Designer do a pretty good job. And they're sub $50 programs. You own them for life. I hate monthly fees. This whole crap of draining you every month for fees really pisses me off. And this is where I said that this map was made to mess with me. I've been wanting a constructed map, and what do we have? We have a constructed center surrounded by a cavern. They're just, they're map teases, let's face it. Alright, so we're going to crop this thing down like we always do. So the final map comes in under that 8,192 pixels. We'll have enough room to put our title here. And then we'll worry about the other stuff that I don't really care that much about later on. Gives us a little buffer around the map. We'll apply. Actually, we'll export. I always hit the wrong thing first. We'll do it at max quality. I tell you what, we're getting excited. We're at the point where we have 3 maps left. And I think we can get this shit done. Alright, so that is saved. I don't care about that. Next, we'll bring in the other program that we use to prep our maps. And this was always something I did off screen. But I figure some people might want to see how to prep your map. This will actually create the grid so that I can scale it inside of Dungeondraft. And it'll give me my end size. And I'll show you what I mean. All right, so we want to set this starting at 100 pixels. These are because these are 10-foot squares. We need them to end up being cut down into quarters with 50 pixel squares because that's the minimum for a map to work inside a Foundry. So we always set this to 100. We're going to make it so the grid is saved. And if we screw up the first time, we might do a redo just to see if we can make it perfect in one go. It's pretty rare that that happens, though. Once in a while, we get lucky. So right now, I'm just looking for some open squares. So this is room 10A. We're going to try to line this up as close to the center of that as we can. It's going to be off. It's going to travel. See, all right, first we're going to do this. Let's kick it a little bit. Actually, let's see how bad it's traveling. I tell you what, it's staying consistent across the map that way. Let's look top to bottom. As long as it stays in that same zone inside those gray lines, I think we dropped it close enough to perfect that I'm happy. So see, there's not a lot of, there's no travel at all. It's staying in the same part of the gray lines on the map. So that'll be our grid. It's not centered on the original grid. I don't think I can center it. I mean, is that any better? Slightly better. If only we had like a the ability to nudge that. That would be awesome, but we don't. So let's save this thing. So that's going to be 57 by 71, which means 7,100 pixels high. It is below the limit that we want. So we're good. All right, we can close that program out. And think it was 57 by 71. Let's see if we can remember. You know what? We're going to use the easy button. 57 by 71. All right. So let's start off by doing this. We're going to uncheck everything. Then we're going to come in and just have the textures to start. I'll leave the elevations and the glyphs for markings. All right, so let's see, walls, textures, because that's our basic layout. And I don't want a bunch of stuff in here starting off. We'll do the terrains, patterns, and that. We'll do the tile sets. We'll do, no, we need that. So that gives us our layout tiles. And as always, it's 2.56 and perfect. I think at this point, I'm pretty set on the fact that if you use the workflow I use, you'll always be at 2.56 on the scale to get these things to match. I have not had to veer from that ever. All right. So first thing we'll do, we're going to save this map. All right, so let's have a look and see what the basic map description is. So anytime there's a fight in any part in this, there's an unholy choir that plays. So if you really wanted to do something crazy, you could always find some weird choir and play that music when battle starts in your virtual tabletop. So I think what we're going to do for the constructed parts, we're going to pick our wall and floor. We'll keep the wall consistent. The floor will end up going through these tunnel zones. And in there, we'll also come back in and lay down a texture so that we have a different floor for these mining areas. But let's pick our wall and floor for the constructed zone. Let's see if there's a description when we get to like 8. Ten-foot high room is constructed of interlocking blood-streaked stone tiles. Rectangular stone slabs lay in neat rows against the east walls. Ceiling's 10 feet high. They never really go into, the stone. So it's just pick what you like. I think we're going to go with simple tiles this time. And let's pick a wall that'll be appropriate. Maybe we'll go with wall F this time. And we'll flip this down to our tablet once we're out of these square zones. See, we're not going to really be able to do these little bumps here. Let's give it a try with this. So let's go. Let's see what this does. We can do them. They may not be perfect, but as long as we try to keep on these lines, I think it'll be fine. good enough. All right. These are always the rooms that are a little bit of a hassle. Just figuring out the angles on them. So I think what we'll do is we're going to do half like that. All right, that gets that corridor. There's nothing to make that exact there, so we're going to do this. And then that wall's just going to have a door there. So for that, we need the solid F, right? Now, I tell you what's tempting. Kraken Dice, thank you for the follow. It's greatly appreciated. Hope you're having an awesome day. Tell you what's... And I'm not a super fan of what I'm going to do. Just because it adds work. But... all right. I really hate the shadows on the walls. They need to give us the option to turn that off in the building tool. So I'm thinking what we're going to do is this. No walls. Lay the floor out and put walls in after. And part of the reason is hot wings and sailors. Part of the reason I want to do that is, you know, the shadows, when you're trying to put secret doors and stuff in, they kind of give a lot away. And if we can get rid of those shadows, and this will be the first map that we're going to try this way. If it works, we may continue building this way. I still like the building tool for the floor patterns and stuff. And it makes my life a little bit easier because the floor gets treated properly by everything else you're going to lay down. So I think that's what we're going to do. It's going to add work, but in the end, I'll be able to get rid of something that I've not been happy with, and that is the shadows. Let me see what time it is. It is 12:12. I'll be on until 2 o'clock. I have to take my daughter to the doctor. I think she has to get a meningitis vaccine, something like that for her for college. So we're going to go and take care of that today. My wife put it on my calendar for 2:30. The doctor's like 5 minutes from the house. But she knows, don't bother me before 2 p.m. Unless somebody's dying. And then at 2 p.m. we end up giving our puppy her pill and doing what we have to do. Free dice? You know, free dice are always good. All right, so let's put Snap back on. See, my chat varies because, and I don't do the same thing every day. It's not like I'm a mapping streamer or a D&D streamer. I stream what I'm doing. And right now, man, I am so sick of Dungeon of the Mad Mage. This last week, I've just decided it's going to be all Mad Mage until I'm done with it. And then we'll go back to our normal mapping Wednesdays, gaming, doing whatever the hell we want the rest of the week, which could be, it could be, let's see, is this going to work? It might work. Let's have a look. I think I'm going to have to zoom out. Could be mapping, could be Dad wants to shoot some people in Call of Duty. You never know. Oh, you son of a sea cow. Alright, so that's not going to work. I think we have to do this as a semicircle. Son of a sea cow. Look at that. That should be perfect. There it is. Where is it? Right there. And back. You would, yeah, I mean, you would think in-person gaming probably will happen again. I'll be honest, like my Wednesday table that I run Wednesday nights, I used to run in-person gaming for a local game store here. And I had, for Adventures League, I had 170 people a week and 20 tables that I coordinated. Now, I'm not sure what their plans are, but at this point I know my plans have become, I'm not going back to the store. I've gotten, I don't know. I don't know if other people have gotten this way, but I've gotten really lazy and enjoy running my games from home and not having to worry about getting dressed or, going out spending money on food or any of that stuff. And if I'm being honest, I really don't miss having to deal with people doing crazy shit that I have to kick them out of the store for. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty bad when a hobby you enjoy, which is, I played D&D forever. At least it feels that way. And when it became a chore and I actually hated going Wednesdays, I was pretty close to being done right before the pandemic. And fortunately, like my Wednesday group, they're all like, you know what? Not having to put pants on when I'm gaming is great. I mean, there was a time when I ran. How do I want to do this? That's an underground tunnel. I am. Oh, I know how I want to do this. I know exactly how I want to do this. We're gonna build this here. Then we'll create a little curve in here. And I'm going to say inside your virtual tabletop, you're going to use that teleport tool. Oh, I just screwed the pooch right there. That was a good idea until I screwed it up. Use your teleport tool to get them to go from there to there. And that. That's damn near perfect. We'll get in and we'll use our tablet to finish off that stuff. But yeah, I've done public sessions for so long. It's been nice not doing them. You know, just having what's turned into like a our private game on Wednesdays. I don't get bothered playing. I don't have to, you know, I don't have somebody coming over whispering in my ear that something horribly inappropriate's happened that pisses me off and makes me have to go over and deal with somebody who probably shouldn't be in public in the first place. And, you know, it's been awesome. COVID's been horrible, but, you know, not dealing with crazy stuff. I mean, all the years of public gameplay, I've got horror stories that... Damn it! Damn it! I wish I could forget. Now, I'll admit, through public gaming, we've met players that to this day, you know, when we're playing our private games, we still play with them. You know, they've come into like our personal group and all. Tell you what, we're gonna do it this way. Oh man, and trust me, you don't want to have me come over and talk to somebody at your table. All right, so I think this is what we did. We expanded this room. So we're going to expand the room. I know it's not exact to what they drew, but man, let's face it. Sometimes what they draw in these maps just is not going to translate over to your maps. What just happened there? That filled in that, didn't it? There was a leak. Those tiles didn't get drawn. Tell you what, let's do this. That's weird. That is really weird. This is one of the things with mapping software that can drive you nuts. It'll like fill stuff in that shouldn't be filled. You know, unless you're placing tiles. Then you can get away with a lot. But sure, to answer your question, sure. What are you looking for? Tell me. What is the dealio? So I'm curious. Now, I think this is going to be the only issue. I'm going to experiment here. So let's put this down here. And I bet the second that they touch. Ooh. Nah, that didn't mess them up when they touched. That tile is saying, don't touch me. So we could maybe do that. But I'm thinking we're not going to do that. We're going to use building tool for the constructed areas, just for the floor. And then we're going to use the pattern shape tool to lay down. And we're going to have more options, I believe, for the pattern tool. We'll use that to lay down the cave floor. Where is the cave floor? That better have carried over. There it is. Dad's about to have a stroke. There we go. If you want to message me with the particulars, I will take a look and sure. Come on. So basically giveaways in stream. That's what we're talking about. So it looks like this is constructed too. So we'll do this here. Let's look for any other constructed areas. We're going to use the same tiles for those. I think this, we're going to use the rough hewn tiles. Let's look what 21 says. But clean air station, come here to shake off the effects of the poison gas. Runes are chiseled into the walls. So it's going to be the same thing. Floor, but they've done something on the walls. So no big deal there. Okay. I'll have to, what I'll do is figure out how to automate the winter picking. And hopefully I'll remember to do that this weekend. Since I automate everything in stream. Pretty sure I'll be able to do it with my bot that I use to automate the cameras and everything that I set up. Okay. All right, so I'm thinking we're gonna do the floor here next. Do I want to? You know what? Let's see if we can do this with the mouse. I'm dubious. We want this on below water. And we need to remove snap. So yeah, I'm not using the mouse. This sucks. The mouse sucks. I tell you what, drawing tablets make you appreciate them. Let's be honest. It's like you use it and you're like, yes, this is superior to clicking. Oh, man. Let's get this thing down here. And hopefully this is working. There we go. Good deal. Just in case I get notifications, I should be doing this. Oh, fuck. We kind of swore we weren't going to do this anymore, but... And by do this, you know, do these sections, then draw the walls in. But then I come upon this mix of constructed and cave level. And I'm like, you know what? That's the only thing that's going to make this look and work right. Yeah, it's like your first inclination is to do it as easily as possible, but it's not necessarily going to be the best way to do it. And this does let me not have to worry about doing filler once we're done. It's like the way we did the map that we just finished earlier. We had a lot of filler to do in those walls because we built it out as a large blocked out area and then started constructing everything. Like this, we had to go back in and fill in so it didn't look like the floor. This creates a little bit more work up front, but honestly, I think in the end it evens out because you're not doing all the repairs and filling. And some people might not even worry about filling in the stuff that we did, but I'm so like picky about how it looks when we're done. I'm going to undo that, and I think we're just going to pull some points down here. I think we're fine with that and that. Yeah, one of these days I'll get back to gaming at a table, but it's going to be like having our groups come over to the house. We were doing that before COVID, where and we had a Friday night group that came over. We were playing, for a while we were playing, what the hell was the name of that game? My son wanted to play it. I can't even remember. It was some weird ass horror game. Shadow of the Demon Lord. That's it. That was a strange game. And then we flipped back to playing 5e. And then Sundays were my Pathfinder game. And it's funny because, we played here live, and I still would use, when I run, I'll still use a virtual tabletop to put the map up, let people have a tablet and move their token around. Ideally, I'd almost like to have a table out there with like a 40, maybe a 50-inch monitor sitting on top of it that I could project the map onto, and then let them use their miniatures, because people do love their minis, me included. God knows I've spent way too much money on Reaper Kickstarters. And not to mention actually driving up to Reaper, since it's like 20 minutes from here. When I'm like, you know what? There's a mini I really need. You look on their site. You go, all right, let's go up there. You go there for one mini and walk away with a bag that you spent $150 on with more minis. Miniatures are like gamer crack, let's be honest. Once you get into painting them, or tabletop gamer crack, I should say. Once you get into painting them, it's game over. It's not even like the cost of the miniatures, it's paints. Once you realize that having a good brush like sables and stuff like that makes a difference in how the paints go on and how your miniatures look when you're done. Then you're like, oh wait, I need them in this size and that size. Oh my God, it's crazy. All right, so I need this to go up and meet that. We want this to be right here. The walls will fix a lot of that, but All right. Should be able to get this zone done in one run. How did we miss that? And now that I'm back to doing it this way, I'm, you know, for a while I was like, yeah, we're not going to worry about line fidelity. If when I do it this way, it seems to make me go back to worrying about line fidelity. just inside that wall. I think we can, I don't know, we're going to be able to finish this. Yeah, we'll be able to finish the base layout without the walls today, probably. Be able to get the floors done. I feel confident. All right, let's move the mic. Slowly getting there. And let's be honest, if you're using Dungeondraft to make your maps, you can do this much quicker. You can use the building tool to lay out your constructed zones. Then they have the cave building tool. And as long as you're happy with the art style on the cave building tool, you can dig this thing out and have it done right quick and in a hurry, as they would say. But if you're not happy with how the wall textures look and the floors, and you're looking for a little bit more realistic texture style, then you've got to do it the way that I do it here. It does take more time, but I think the map looks nicer when you're done. Now let's be blunt here. I worry about this because I want the maps to look nice. Your players will probably not care if you use the map building tool or do it this way, because they're not going to spend that much time in here or sit here and ooh and ah over how the map looks. This is just a decision that you make when you make a map. Do you want it to look nice, or do you want it to be finished quickly? And I'm not saying it doesn't look nice if you use the cave building tool. It's just a different art style, and I really am not a super fan. Now, if you get Dungeondraft, I mean, basically the map tool, there are the construction tools and stuff that come with it. I did quite a few maps when I first got this that we played with. The players appreciated it instead of having just the black and white maps. Um, and it did its job. But, I generally was looking for, something just a little nicer. And now we're down to this is how I prefer to do the maps so that they look a certain way. I guess the best way, the included assets, which there are a lot, that come with Dungeondraft, will get your maps done. I mean, there are going to be some assets that you're just not going to find. And that's when you're going to start looking, you'll go to sites like cartographyassets.com. You'll start looking at Patreon pages where they do create map assets. And then you'll start getting a little bit more detailed in your maps. And you don't have to do it. Let's just be blunt here. Pretty much everything that comes with Dungeondraft will let you make nice maps that'll work perfectly with, if you use Foundry, walls, everything will move over perfectly. Be fully playable, and guarantee you your players are probably still going to be tickled pink, with the maps that you make for them. And I mean, I have some maps up where I have a mix of using cave drawing tool for small zones, and then the constructed zones are all made with other assets that are not included in Dungeondraft. And because I like how they turned out, I don't bother redoing them. It's just the ones where I did do them entirely using Dungeondraft assets where I've opted to go back. And there were some where I opted to go back because I tried building these out. At one point, instead of just drawing it based on the 10-foot grids and then going inside of Foundry and creating the 5-foot grids, turning these squares into 4x4 or 2x2 squares. Yeah, so it's 4 squares per 10 foot. And if you go in and try to convert it, this thing has a 128 square limit, I think. And a lot of those maps are huge, and they become even worse. I mean, they are huge. They become worse once you turn those 10s into 5 foots. I mean, you're doubling the number of squares. So let's say this map, it was what, 71 high, right? If we were to turn this into 5-foot squares, it would now be, multiply times 2. It would be 142 squares tall. This software has a limitation of 128 squares in the horizontal or vertical direction. So the map is not drawable using the 5-foot squares that you need inside of any virtual tabletop for characters to be in. So you end up having to create 2 maps, basically split this map in half. I guess your other option would be to create map tiles. Drop them down, and then, go in, create your grid, and do what you have to complete the map so it's usable. But again, that's more work that you're doing inside of your virtual tabletop that should just get completed inside of your mapping software. And if you are using Dungeondraft to use inside of Foundry, I can't see a reason to do that when you can create your maps and make them workable and then go in and adjust them after the fact inside of Foundry so that your grids work. There's no point in doubling the amount of work that you're going to do. Did that just fuck that up? No, it didn't. When you use that the circle wheel that's built into this XP pen and zoom in, it will do some weird stuff. So you've got to watch out. That's why I tend to use the mouse to zoom, because it won't do what it just did there. And I mean, I've talked to people and they're like, what about using tiles or this kind of stuff or that? My personal opinion is if you're going to do that, then you should probably just be doing your tiles inside of something, creating your art inside of a program like Clip Studio Paint, Photoshop, something like that. Create your map tiles there, pull them over, scale them to what you need them to be scaled to, and then start drawing your walls and everything in your virtual tabletop. But you are negating the convenience of using something like Dungeondraft if you're not taking into account the fact that walls, doors, windows, closed windows, windows that allow light through, you can do all that on the map, and it translates over and creates your line of sight for your virtual tabletop for your characters. And I am not a believer in duplicating work. So if you have a tool that works and makes your life easier, use it the way it's meant to be used. And if you want your tool to do something else, then use a different tool. That'll probably, in the end, if you have the skill, then, use a drawing program. Go in and draw a really awesome map. And again, you can download pens, textures, paths, stuff like that that are able to be used inside of art programs to create maps with. And if that's something you want to do, then, you'll end up probably going like the tile route or creating maps that, you can scale in. Just remember, use what you want to use, what you enjoy using. Do it how you want to do it. I think some of these small pillars, we're just going to draw the wall lines there and not worry about the insides. It's the massive zones that we're going to worry about. So yeah, we played Dark Alliance yesterday in stream, and it was just two of us. We didn't leave it wide open so other people could join. And, probably not having a group of 4 players does make a difference because, we were playing the Archer and Drist, right? Was it Catti and Drist? So you had a ranger, basically fighting with 2 swords, and an archer. And what we ended up finding, and if you watched the stream yesterday, you kind of saw, there were rooms where, the Drist character would go in and just get murdered. And with the archer, I was able to sit back and fire from safety, and it just seemed like there were zones that the NPCs, the AI was not willing to cross. So it took a little longer, but I just sat back there shooting and picking them off. And there were times in the game where the Drist character, the player would just be like, every time I go in there, I'm getting killed. I'm going to just sit back here and wait until you take care of that, and then we'll move forward. So I don't know. Maybe if we would have had 2 other players, one playing the barbarian, the other playing the tank, would have increased damage in there. I'm thinking that it does not scale enemies by the number of people that are in there. I might go in, create another character, and try to go through solo and see if it looks like it scales or not. If it doesn't scale, then that tells me the thing's basically it's kind of built like you're playing a tabletop game where, something's made for 4 players. You bring in 2 players into it, and the DM doesn't scale it down. It's going to be difficult, and you're going to get killed. Where you bring in the appropriate number of characters with a well-rounded party, which they don't let you take 2 of the same class. So you, somebody's like, oh, we're just going to kite the whole thing. We'll bring in 2 archers. Yeah, you can't do that. There's only 1 allowed per group. So, I don't know. Since I tend to just play with, my son, one other person on something like that. then it's probably, not going to be a game that I play a lot. And like I said earlier, it's one of those things where I got it in Game Pass. So it's no skin off my back. I'm paying the $15 a month no matter what. I use it to play a few other games. Use it also so that I can have online play for games that need online play. If I had have actually paid for the game, I might be a little bit annoyed. All right, let's get this section done. Lots and lots of tapping. Definitely missed a few taps here, didn't we? it's a Wednesday. We took care of our intellect devourer and lycanthrope infestation in our campaign. I've said before, I've never seen a group that could fail so many important saving throws. But they do. I had 3 intellect devourers, and I worked it out so that they'd be able to still play their characters, knowing that we were going to run into a bunch of mind flayers eventually, and planning to take care of it before, that happened. And we're getting down to the point where they're going to run into some. So, middle of combat, they have an NPC running along with them who happens to have protection from good and evil. And I popped it on one of the characters. Bam, intellect devourer pops out of their brain, out of their skull. NPC loses their shit. The rest of the party that was not a problem it's like, well, we have to make sure there aren't any more of those, because we run into a lot of these things. None of them ever figured out what had happened. So they went through. One guy popped protection from good and evil on himself. He's like, see, I'm clean. Did it to one of the players. Bam, intellect devourer killed. One player was like, no, there's no way. They took care of it anyway. I let them do it. I know it says volunteer, a willing participant, but I needed that shit out of my game. Took them up. 2 of them had lycanthropy. So they ended up doing true resurrection. And that took care of my lycanthropes. That has been a constant hassle. And the one player decided, once they ran into mind flayers, they were just going to, pretty sure the other player had decided too, they were just going to turn on the party and kill them. And do whatever they were told to do. And let's face it, you really can't have a party that all of a sudden decides to become mind flayer fucking slaves and murder the party. So we cleaned that shit up. Now I just have a normal party of players again until they fail more saving throws. Thank goodness. I haven't seen any more through all the maps that we've drawn. It gets to the point where they run into like a mind flayer colony. They've got all kinds of stuff they run into. No more intellect devourers seem to be showing up in those maps. And no more werewolves. Now those players can't walk into combat like they're invincible anymore. You know, the casters. Oh, I'm not worried about it. Bludgeoning, slashing, piercing, slashing damage. Can't hurt me. Now they're going to have to play like normal players again. And when it comes time to draw the walls in here, we're going to have to go through all this tracing again. And like I said, I think we're gonna do that on Monday. When I finish getting the floor textures in, I'm probably going to save the map, eat some lunch, and get ready to, damn it, get ready to do what I have to do out today, and then go do leg day at the gym. Tap, tap, tap. If I get some free time over the weekend, I might come in and do some of the walls off stream. Then we can get to decorating. So we're going to have a lot of railroad tracks and mine carts and all kinds of stuff to throw in here. It looks like it could be an interesting map when it's done. I think these are the last zones. We're getting excited. This is the last part to close in. That will be awesome. And before we get off, I'm going to take a look at the next map down. I'm curious if we're going to get another constructed map or if we're going to have nothing but caves. Is that it? Yes. All right, let's save this thing. I'm curious. Have I actually been doing that? That's a major snafu. There's the map. Sorry about that. Somebody would have said something. I would have moved it. Alright, so there's where we are now. Let's pull the trace image off. We'll show you what we've done since we've been drawing for a while and you haven't seen that. But there are our constructed and our cave zones. Next we need to add walls. Then we'll start filling in the tracks, doors, everything like that. In fact, we'll probably add walls and doors offline. Get that done, and then all of the actual details of the map we'll work on next week. And I think we're going to do what I plan to do, which is, use the F wall for everything in here, just because I kind of like it. The notations we'll put on the outside, not inside the map. Apparently this is like a low point here. So like, looks like all of these little levels kind of slope down and around, with this dipping down and being in the center. But let's take a look at the next level. Shadow Husk Cold. We'll pull this over. I'm excited. We are excited. Look at that. I'll pop that on screen. So we're going to have an actual constructed map for the entire map. And we do like those layouts because we can use the building tool and build it exactly how we want. And then what's 23? That's the last. It's not going to be easy. Oh, wow. That's constructed too. I'm excited. Good deal. So after this, we have 2 constructed maps. And they're so much easier to build. They really are. So when we finally finish this one, that's the mix of constructed and caves, we'll have 2 quick builds, it looks like. So I do believe this map we're going to work on the walls offline this weekend. Get them all drawn in. Monday we should be able to decorate, lay out the tracks, get everything done. And then maybe by Thursday be done with Mad Mage altogether. And then we won't touch another map until the Wednesday after that. But right now we're just doing the end push because I want Mad Mage done. I want it done in a bad, bad way. So we're going to get that done. So we have our floors laid out. We'll do walls this weekend, in between doing other stuff. And that's it. That'll be it for today. Hope everybody has a great weekend. If I get on in game, I may get on and stream it. It just depends. I may decide I'm going to play some Call of Duty or something. Oh, excuse me. That is rude. Dogs have gotten us up every night at 3 o'clock. And it's not the same one. Last night it was Icy. The night before, Tessa was pestering. The night before that, my two-legged child was pestering, or actually, going out in the middle of the fucking night. So, sleep's been a premium. And it shouldn't be like that. But, yeah, we're going to work on this map over the weekend, and we'll decorate, finish this thing off next week. Looks like there's some forges in the middle there, pits, statues, and I'm guessing a bunch of braziers, pillars. This isn't going to be a real complex map. The only complexity is because we've got two different textures to lay down, two different types of zones. But that's it. Everybody have an awesome rest of your day. We'll catch you next week. If we game this weekend, hopefully we'll see you then. But otherwise, we'll catch you next week. Have an awesome day.